Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are heading a full century before the Song of Ice and Fire began, strapping on armor bought with a palfrey, and riding straight into the brutal world of itinerant knighthood.
We are deep diving into the origins of Sir Duncan the Tall, a colossal figure well, his impulsive decency at the tourney of Ashford Meadow didn't just earn him a prince for a squire.
No, it did much more than that. It permanently reset the line of succession for the Iron Throne.
Exactly. So our mission today is to take the raw materials, the sources we have detailing Dunk's life on the road and the shocking events at Ashford, and really extract the critical nuggets.
We want to understand the economics of the Hedge Knight, right? And the surprising ruthlessness lurking just beneath all that Targaryen chivalry.
And how a single, desperate 7-on-7 trial became one of the most consequential events in Westeros history. I mean, this is so much more than a story of lances and horses.
It really is. It's an examination of how class, honor, and destiny just collide.
I love that framing, because we aren't starting with royalty and silk pavilions.
Yes. Not at all. We are starting in the mud with a character who is quite literally at the very beginning of the story digging a grave. So let's just jump right in and unpack the bleak reality that defines the life of Sir Duncan before he even knew his own name.
Okay, so this opening scene is just so crucial because it immediately establishes the tone. We're introduced to Dunk, and the description is a shambling, shaggy, big-boned boy of 16 or 17.
Shambling is such a great word. He's not this imposing tower of muscle yet. He's still growing into his own body.
He's awkward. But even then, he stands closer to 7 feet tall. This massive physical presence is already setting him apart, yet at the same time, he is utterly alone.
And that solitude is just driven home by what he's doing, right? He's digging the grave for his deceased master, Sir Arlen of Pennytree. It's a moment that strips away all the romance of the knightly life.
All of it. Sir Arlen didn't die in some glorious combat. He died from a simple chill.
Yeah, he just succumbed to the cold after some persistent spring rains finally claimed him. It's so mundane.
It's the harsh, lonely reality of the hedge. And you see Dunk's quiet respect for the man. He chooses the western slope of a low hill for the burial site because Sir Arlen loved to watch the sunset.
It's a personal act. There's no septon, no ceremony, no witnesses, just Dunk.
Just Dunk and maybe a robin in a tree. It shows the ultimate isolation of their entire existence.
And we have to give Sir Arlen his due. I mean, the sources paint him as a generous man, at least with his praise.
He was, and he taught Dunk everything he knew about fighting. The shield, the sword, the horse. Dunk is a formidable fighter, in terms of sheer brute force and basic technique.
But Arlen's limitations are the Hedge Knight's limitations, right?
Yeah.
In that kind of itinerant life, education's a luxury they just don't have.
Exactly. Arlen taught Dunk to fight, but not to read, not to pray, and certainly not the complex rules of courtly etiquette or how to maneuver socially.
So Dunk is physically ready for the world, but socially and intellectually, he's completely green.
And that gap, that's the driving tension of the whole story, the gap between his huge size and his almost childlike social understanding.
And Sir Arlen's final act. I mean, that's maybe the most pivotal moment of Dunk's entire life.
Right before passing, Arlen knights him. He uses his own sword to bestow the title Sir Duncan the Tall. But even this sacred right is reduced to its barest minimum.
Witnessed only by that robin sitting in a thorn tree. It's a knighting of necessity, really. An attempt to give the boy a fighting chance in the world, not some act of recognized glory.
And the irony is just so rich. Dunk, now officially Sir Duncan, inherits almost nothing of monetary value. We should look closely at this meager inheritance.
Okay, so he gets 3 horses. There's the swayback stot, which is just a basic, low-quality riding horse.
Then there's Sweetfoot, the palfrey. And this is valuable because a palfrey is bred for a smooth gait, so it offers a comfortable ride and represents, a shred of dignity on the road.
And then there's Thunder, the war horse.
Thunder is the family fortune. The rest of his gear is just used. A chainmail hauberk that's been scoured 1,000 times.
An iron half-helm, a long sword, and a shield bearing Sir Arlen's sigil. A winged chalice, silver on brown.
And in his purse.
It's pathetic. 3 silver stags and 19 copper pennies. That is the entire foundation of Sir Duncan the Tall.
Which brings us directly to the profound choice he faces. With essentially no money, he has these assets that immediately define his path. And the most critical asset is that warhorse, Thunder.
The choice is truly existential. He thinks about giving it all up, right? Selling his gear, maybe
Mhm.
joining the city watching King's Landing.
He could find some safety there, a steady wage. But the only life he knows, the only identity he has, is that of a knight.
And this forces us to really analyze what a hedge knight is in the context of Westeros, a century before the main events.
They're the knights who have fallen through the cracks of the system. They have the title, often they have the training, but they have no land, no keep, no household.
And no source of steady income beyond what they can win or beg for.
They're constantly on the move, riding from keep to keep for temporary service, joining small skirmishes, or, ideally, competing in tourneys.
The sources make a point of emphasizing how precarious this life is. Sir Arlen's point of pride was that he never had to turn robber during the lean winters.
And that one line tells you exactly where the line between survival and outlawry is drawn for this entire class of warrior.
So the economic necessity is paramount. If he sells thunder, he sells his identity. He sells his ability to compete.
A hedge knight without a war horse is just a very tall, starving man with a sword.
So he must maintain the life of a hedge knight to survive. The alternative is just ruin.
And maintaining that life requires capital, which he doesn't have. He needs better armor, food, lodging, so the goal is set.
He has to enter the upcoming tourney at Ashford Meadow.
The tourney is the jackpot. It offers prize money, fresh meat, which is a huge luxury, and the ultimate hedge knight dream, a position in a noble household.
A stable position means shelter, regular pay, food, freedom from sleeping under elm trees.
So the Ashford tourney isn't a game for Dunk. It's a job interview for life itself.
And driven by that hope, with a few coins left, he reaches a roadside inn and makes a decision that is just pure, delicious self-sabotage.
He splurges. The descriptions are wonderful. Lamb roasted with herbs, duck with cherries and lemons.
4 tankards of nut brown ale.
Mm.
He's giddy, intoxicated by this taste of a noble life he might never reach, telling himself, this is what it means to be a knight.
And that indulgence is immediately followed by the arrival of his first and most important life complication, the stable boy, Egg.
The introduction is so sharp. Pacey-faced, skinny, bald, and brazen.
Dunk, fueled by the ale and his fragile new identity, immediately tries to assert his authority.
He treats Egg exactly as he assumes a new knight should treat an insolent stable hand. He orders the boy around, threatens him with a clype in the ear.
He's leaning so hard into the only title he's ever had.
But the scene just turns on him so quickly. He goes to the stable and finds the boy mounted on Thunder, wearing Sir Arlen's chainmail.
The image is utterly intent and utterly absurd. The armor is way too big for him. It's this act of brazen familiarity that Dunk, the new knight, finds deeply, deeply insulting.
It's a total violation of his space and his highly valued property. But Egg doesn't make excuses. He just launches into this well-rehearsed plea.
He claims his mother is dead and begs Dunk to take him on as a squire.
But what seals the deal isn't the begging, it's the action.
Exactly. Egg demonstrates this extraordinary competence. He's already earned his keep. He washed Dunk's clothes, he groomed the horses perfectly, he made a fire, even caught a fish.
Egg is offering loyalty and competence, which are things Dunk desperately needs, even if he doesn't realize it yet.
Dunk initially just assumes Egg is another boy from Flea Bottom, maybe a runaway orphan just like he was. That's his frame of reference.
He thinks, I can handle a Flea Bottom urchin.
But the truth just explodes out of the stable. Egg, under pressure, reveals his full identity. The shaved head was a disguise.
A strategy by the Maesters and his older brother Darren to hide the distinctive silver-gold hair of House Targaryen.
And when Dunk finally forces the truth out of him, the boy admits he's Aegon, son of Prince Maekar, grandson of the king. He ran away because he was tired of being sheltered and pampered and teased.
Talk about a jump in the social hierarchy.
Yeah.
Dunk of Flea Bottom, who has 3 silver stags to his name, is now responsible for a runaway prince.
A prince who is potentially several steps up in the line of succession. This is the ultimate fish out of water scenario.
And Dunk's agreement to take him on really sets the foundation for their unique relationship. He says he won't beat him.
Except when you deserve it. Which establishes a bond rooted in hard reality and service, not royal privilege. Dunk is refusing to treat Aegon like a prince.
And that's a critical decision that will define Aegon's entire future rule.
That dynamic, the lowest knight tutoring one of the highest princes, is the engine that drives this entire story. They're riding toward Ashford Meadow, where that class clash is about to be put under the brightest, most unforgiving spotlight.
The sheer scale of the Ashford tourney must have been just overwhelming for Dunk. The source describes the common meadow transformed into a second town of silk pavilions.
A vibrant, temporary metropolis of wealth and heraldry, This is the Westerosi equivalent of the Olympics, the World Fair, and the Stock Exchange all rolled into one.
And the contrast with Dunk's life could not be starker. He camps under a single elm tree. His pavilion is roofed only with leaves.
Meanwhile, all around him are these vibrant, intimidating banners of the most powerful houses in the realm. This roll call of power is specifically designed to make Dunk feel small and irrelevant.
You see the crowned stag of Sir Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm. You see the golden lion of Lannister for Lord Daemon, the Grey Lion.
The golden rose of Tyrell, flown by Lord Leo Longthorn, and of course the ever-present three-headed dragon of the Targaryen ruling dynasty.
So Dunk's immediate psychological state is one of acute self-awareness. He knows he has to earn his place here.
The wealth and spectacle around him translate directly to status, and without a victory, he faces the worst kind of judgment. Not just poverty, but silent scorn and open mockery.
He has to ascend the social ladder, and the only tool he has is his enormous size and his decent, if rough, training.
Which really highlights the dual nature of chivalry in this era. It's a spectacle of honor, yes, but it's also a deeply competitive professional sport with incredibly high financial stakes.
Absolutely. And to compete professionally, you need professional equipment. You can't go up against these plate-armored nobles wearing his old, used chainmail.
Which brings us to the harsh commercial truth of knighthood.
Good armor is the price of entry, and Dunk has no coin. This forces him into a heartbreaking financial decision. He has to liquidate his assets.
He has to sell Sweetfoot, the palfrey, the horse that carried Sir Arlen thousands of miles. It's the last vestige of comfort and dignity he has.
And the negotiation for Sweetfoot really illustrates Dunk's complete lack of business acumen. He sells the horse for 750 silver stags.
Which is a significant sum for Dunk, but he'd initially asked for 3,000. The stableman, Henley, he clearly took advantage of the desperate Hedge Knight.
Dunk feels like a loser in the transaction, but the money is enough to make him feel queer, almost giddy on one hand and anxious on the other.
It's a terrifying amount of capital to hold when you live hand to mouth.
So he immediately takes that fortune to Steely Pate, the armorer. And we get a great character moment here. Pate is sturdy, practical, and immediately impressed by Dunk's size.
But also very skeptical of his purse. Pate is a master craftsman, and his assessment is just brutal realism. He initially quotes 800 stags for the necessary gear.
So what does Dunk need? A new suit of double chain mail for better protection, a gorget that's armor for the throat and neck,
A high-risk area in a melee. He also needs greaves, which are armor for the shins, and crucially, a plain rounded great helm with no visor.
Pate insists on the rounded helm, right, because it's safer. Glancing blows are less likely to stick.
It's practical working-class steel, not fancy.
Dunk manages to negotiate the price down to 600 stags by throwing in Sir Arlen's old armor as a trade-in.
And that transaction is the perfect example of the Hedge Knight's economy. Dunk liquidates virtually everything he owns, his horse, his heritage, just to afford the tools that might let him win that money back.
It's just high-stakes gambling.
And now for the final critical piece of identity, the shield. He can't use Sir Arlen's winged chalice.
Why not?
Because, as Prince Baelor later confirms, only a true-born son is legally entitled to inherit a knight's arms. Dunk, an adopted squire from Fleabottom, has to forge his own identity.
And eggs suggest the obvious sigil, the elm tree where they're camping.
Dunk adds a shooting star inspired by a lucky omen he saw. This design connects him to the land and the heavens, and it bypasses the need for a noble lineage.
And this is where we meet Tansel, the puppet girl. She's described as tall and pretty from Dorne.
Yeah.
She agrees to paint his new shield in sunset colors.
And this interaction, it grounds Dunk in the world of the small folk and merchants. But the finished shield immediately troubles him. The star is falling, and sunset heralds the night.
He starts to see the shield not as an omen of luck, but a failure in finality. It shows the psychological toll of this high-stakes gamble he's on.
With his new armor and shield, Dunk have the tools, but he still needs permission. His next hurdle is validation, and it proves almost insurmountable.
Plummer the steward, a bureaucrat with narrow pinched face, demands that a known knight vouch for Dunk's dubbing.
This is the legal system trying to filter out the undesirables, you know? The nobility wants to ensure only true knights compete. So Dunk appeals to Sir Manfred Dondarrion,
whose father Sir Arlen had once served. Dunk is hoping for an old family connection to get him through.
And Sir Manfred delivers the ultimate cold shower. He refuses Dunk's appeal instantly. I know him not, nor you, boy.
That is the core trauma of the Hedge Knight's existence, to be denied his very status. He's faced with losing his chance to compete, and with it, all his money.
This impasse is broken by the arrival of the ruling class. The Targaryens arrive, silver gold hair, violet eyes. The procession includes 3 Kingsguard knights.
Sir Roland Crakehall, Sir Donald Duskendale, Sir Willem Wilde, and the princes.
Dunk tries to avoid them, knowing he's just a commoner who could be easily dismissed.
But fate intervenes when he finds himself pleading his case in Lord Ashford's hall, and he encounters the hand of the king and heir to the Iron Throne, Prince Baelor Breakspear.
Baelor is described as tall, with dark hair, which is uncommon for a Targaryen, and a broken nose. He just carries an air of competence and certainty.
He represents the ideal of chivalry, but tempered with pragmatism.
And when Dunk starts stammering about Sir Arlen's service, Baelor pauses the entire conversation. This is Baelor's genius. He remembers everything.
He recalls Arlen's service, and he even corrects Dunk's proud exaggeration. Dunk claimed Arlen broke 7 lances against him.
Baelor corrects him. It was 4. But he adds that Arlen did unhorse Lord Daemon Lannister years before.
By correcting the detail, Baelor subtly validates Arlen's story and Dunk's pedigree. He saves Dunk from total humiliation and grants him permission to enter the lists.
It's an act of extraordinary grace from the heir to the throne toward a completely unknown commoner.
But that grace comes with terrible peril, dictated by the strict rules of the tourney. Lord Ashford's daughter is the Queen of Love and Beauty, defended by 5 champions, including Prince Velar, Baelor's son.
And the jousting rules are the economic engine here. The winner takes the loser's armor, arms, and horse, which must then be ransomed back.
Let's underscore this for the listener. Dunk spent 600 stags on his gear. If he loses his first tilt, he loses everything. His armor, his sword, and most importantly, thunder.
And he cannot afford the ransom. He has to win or he is utterly ruined, far worse off than when he started. The tourney is a high-risk system designed to continually extract wealth from the lower, unlanded class of knighthood.
The first day of the list is just pure spectacle. It confirms the financial hierarchy we just talked about. We see the champions arrayed, Lord Tyrell, Sir Humphrey Harding, Prince Valar, against challengers like the Grey Lion and the Laughing Storm.
It's a magnificent martial display. Lord Ashford's sons, Andro and Robert, they get unseated early, but they fight nobly, upholding the honor of their house.
And Sir Humphrey Harding has a tremendous day. He humbles 14 knights. He's the undisputed champion of the challengers.
Then you have Sir Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm, who just steals the show. He embodies the cavalier, showy side of knighthood.
He's booming with laughter. He makes a point of striking off his opponent's crests and tossing them into the crowd.
It's skillful, it's arrogant, and it's hugely popular with the small folk, but it also signals that he views the whole thing as a magnificent, slightly condescending game.
And Dunk, watching all this from the sidelines, is performing a painful self-assessment. He realizes he has virtually no chance against established veterans like Tyrell or Baratheon.
They're too skilled, too practiced, too well-equipped. He's forced to look for the weakest link among the remaining champions.
And he settles on Prince Valar, Baelor's son. He notes that Valar had won 9 times, but mostly against old men and up-jump squires.
Dunk convinces himself that Valar's victories are based on royal prestige and fear, not true skill, which makes him a plausible, though terrifying, target.
But just as he settles on this strategy, the entire atmosphere of the tourney changes. The playful high-stakes sport abruptly turns sinister.
With the late arrival of Prince Aegon.
Prince Aegon Brightflame. He's Prince Maekar's second son, and he is everything that Baelor is not. Vain, cruel, and deeply arrogant.
He arrives on this magnificent charger, barded in vivid red, yellow, and orange flames, emphasizing the bright flame moniker he's given himself.
He makes a grand, ostentatious challenge against the day's hero, Sir Humphrey Harding.
Wow.
But Aegon doesn't follow the rules of chivalry.
No, he follows the rules of malice. He deliberately aims his lance low, not at the man, but at the knight's horse, striking it just above the armor that protected his breastbone.
The result is horrifying. The horse is killed instantly, screaming in agony. And Sir Humphrey is severely injured, his leg crushed between the splintering fence and the animal's weight.
And everyone knows instantly this was not an accident. This was a calculated, blatant act of foul play designed to injure the man by destroying his expensive, innocent beast.
It violates the core code of honorable combat.
And the cruelty doesn't stop there. Aegon then moves to the merchant row. He finds the puppeteer's stall, where the puppet knight Florian has just slain the dragon puppet.
And Aegon, declaring that this display is an attack on House Targaryen, an incitement to revolt, orders his men to destroy the stall.
It's an exercise in pure tyranny, using his royal authority to terrorize innocent small folk over a children's show, and then the final straw for Dunk.
He seizes Tansel, the girl who painted Dunk's shield, twisting her arm and breaking her finger.
This is the moment where Dunk's origin just takes over. He's no longer thinking about the ransom or the rules or his fragile knighthood.
He sees an innocent being harmed, just as Sir Arlen had sworn him to protect, and his brute instincts from Flea Bottom just override all caution.
He crashes through the crowd, shoves a man-at-arms aside, and throws himself at the prince. The source describes a raw, visceral attack.
He punches Arianne off his feet, kicks him in the belly and mouth, loosening one of his teeth. Dunk's immense size and fury are just completely unleashed.
The royal men-at-arms swarm him, pinning him down, but the damage is done. Arianne, bloody-mouthed, orders Dunk's immediate execution, smash out his teeth and show him his entrails.
This is the moment of peak escalation.
And then the skinny, bald stableboy intervenes. He steps forward into the eye of the storm.
Aeg reveals his true identity. Aegon Targaryen, son of Maekar, brother to the injured prince.
And the authority of the blood of the dragon instantly halts the violence. The men-at-arms, terrified of harming a royal prince, they kneel.
The defense of the innocent has escalated from a brawl to a full-blown political crisis involving the highest family in the land.
And Dunk, the Hedge Knight, has laid hands upon the blood of the dragon. The consequences will be severe.
So Dunk is immediately imprisoned in a small tower cell. And the next day, Prince Baelor comes to him, not to condemn him, but to counsel him.
Baelor is deeply troubled, but he's also utterly pragmatic. He understands Dunk's intent, but he also understands the brutal nature of royal justice.
He informs Dunk of the political gravity. Striking the blood of the dragon is treason.
And because Dunk punched and kicked Arianne, the likely punishment for a common man, even one who is defending the innocent, is the loss of the offending hand and foot.
This is the state flexing its absolute power, reminding Dunk that his life is worth less than the dignity of a spoiled prince.
Baelor offers the only alternative under the laws of the faith, trial by combat.
But Arianne, seeking maximum spectacle and humiliation, demands the ancient Andonal tradition of the Trial of Seven.
Which is a religious appeal, requiring 7 champions on each side, asking the gods to judge the justice of the cause in a mass melee. It transforms single combat into a guaranteed slaughter.
This demand puts Dunk in an absolutely impossible position. He's alone, he's friendless, he's unlanded.
Meanwhile, Arianne is guaranteed a lineup that will include 3 of the realm's best fighters, the Kingsguard Knights.
Sir Roland Crakehall, Sir Donald of Duskendale, and Sir Willem Wilde. Plus, Prince Maekar, who's arrived and is furious, and Prince Arianne himself.
Even Prince Darren, the drunk, is forced to fight to redeem his family's honor, though he promises Dunk he'll fall over quickly so as not to hurt anyone.
The odds are just astronomical. Dunk has just been rebuffed by Dondarrion and Lannister. He has no allies.
Maekar's earlier words hang heavy. If a cause is just, good men will fight for it. Dunk has to test that maxim, despite knowing that good men rarely risk their lives against the Kingsguard for a penniless commoner.
So Dunk, feeling utterly desolate, wanders back to his elm tree camp, knowing he needs 6 knights, and fast.
And the first glimmer of hope comes from the Fossaway tent.
Raymond Fossaway and his cousin, Sir Stefan, they become Dunk's first allies. Sir Stefan, the ripe apple, volunteers immediately, having seen Arianne's cruel act firsthand.
And Raymond, while he's initially hesitant because of how deadly the trial is, soon commits himself to the cause. He recognizes the gross injustice of it all.
They start gathering their band. They secure Sir Robin Riesling, the one-eyed veteran who had shown immense courage in the lists.
They recruit Sir Humphrey Beesbury, a bold young knight who is also Harding's brother-in-law, driven by both principle and kinship.
And then comes the most heartbreaking recruit, Sir Humphrey Harding himself, the victim.
Despite his leg being broken in 2 places, he insists on fighting. He uses the charger that Lord Ashford awarded him after Arianne's despicable act. He's fighting for vengeance.
The crucial 6th ally is Sir Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm. This is a huge acquisition.
And the story of how they get him is amazing. Egg snuck into Lionel's tent and poured wine over his head to get his attention, an act of sheer audacity that Lionel found hilarious.
Lionel agrees, not purely for justice, but because he sees it as the ultimate spectacle. He wants a chance to fight the Kingsguard Knights and tweak Prince Maekar's nose in the bargain.
He views the Trial of Seven as this glorious testing ground. He turns a deadly judicial process into a personal, high-stakes game.
But just as they reach 6 men, A betrayal just rocks their small band.
Sir Stefan Fossway, the ripe apple, defects to Aeryn's side. He believes joining the accusers will bring him greater glory and the promise of a title, Lord Fossway.
It just shows how easily Prince Bull can be bought out by ambition in the face of royal favor.
Raymond Fossaway is enraged by his cousin's wormy ambition. He demands Dunk knight him immediately so he can take his cousin's place.
In the most desperate, hurried knighting of the entire saga, Sir Lionel Baratheon swiftly performs the ceremony.
And Raymond, in this powerful symbolic act of defiance, changes his sigil from the red apple to the green apple, famously declaring his side better green than wormy.
So Dunk has 6 champions, but the accusers still have 7. Dunk, desperate, rides before the viewing stand, begging for a final champion.
He appeals to Lannister, Dondarrion, Bracken, every great lord he or Arlen might have served. He shouts, "Are there no true knights among you?"
And only silence answers him. Aeryn is laughing, ready to claim victory by default.
This is the deepest moment of despair, and it's resolved by the most dramatic, world-altering entrance. A knight in black armor emerges from the river mist
Lord Ashford assumes it's Prince Valar, but the knight lifts his visor
and reveals himself to be Prince Baelor Breakspear, the hand of the king and heir to the Iron Throne.
Baelor, who could have just walked away, chooses to stake his life and the succession of the realm on the side of a commoner who punched his son's uncle.
Prince Maekar is furious. He asks how he could defend the man who attacked his son. And Baelor's response is the definition of true chivalry. This man protected the weak as every true knight must. Let the gods determine if he was right or wrong.
That commitment to the higher code of knighthood, even over family and politics, is why Baelor is legendary.
But Baelor isn't just honorable, he's tactically brilliant. He immediately implements a strategy that changes the entire fight.
He sees that the accusers, intent on murder, are armed with heavy, steel-tipped war lances 8 feet long and built for killing.
Baelor, in contrast, commands his side to use longer 12-foot tourney lances.
It's a brilliant, counterintuitive strategy.
The genius lies in exploiting the dimensions of the fight. If Baelor's team strikes home with their long lances, they can keep their opponents at a distance. The shorter, deadlier war lances of the accusers won't be able to reach them before they're unhorsed.
He sacrifices lethal force for positional advantage and safety.
But the true masterstroke is how he handles the 3 Kingsguard knights. You have to remember their oath. They are sworn to protect the royal family, and, critically, they cannot raise a hand against a prince of the blood.
He weaponizes this oath.
Exactly. He tells his men, "Keep the others off me long enough, and I shall deal with the Kingsguard." By joining Dunk's side, Baelor forced the Kingsguard into an untenable position. They are sworn to protect Prince Aegon, but they are also sworn not to harm Prince Baelor.
He effectively neutralizes the 3 deadliest fighters on the battlefield by turning their sacred oath against them.
It's a breathtaking demonstration of legal and tactical brilliance.
So the horns sound, and the 2 lines of 7 charge into the mud and chaos. Dunk, focused solely on Aeryn, lets instinct take over. He tells himself, "I am thunder, and thunder is me. We are one beast."
But despite Baelor's plan, the melee begins with devastating consequences. Dunk charges Aeryn, but his lance slides off the prince's shield.
Aeryn, meanwhile, uses his heavy war lance to strike Dunk's side, penetrating his shield, his padding, and his new 600 stag armor. The shaft breaks, leaving 3 feet of ashen iron sticking out of Dunk's chest.
He's severely wounded almost instantly. The carnage continues. Sir Humphrey Beesbury is killed instantly, struck in the groin by a Kingsguard lance.
Sir Humphrey Harding, fighting on his broken leg, is also gravely wounded, clinging desperately to his saddle. The field is devolving into a deadly, chaotic spectacle.
Meanwhile, Maekar and Baelor clash fiercely. Maekar, enraged and fighting his own guilt, is wielding a deadly spiked mace while Baelor uses a battle axe. They are fighting with this dangerous personal intensity.
And Dunk, thrown from thunder by Aeryn's second charge, lands hard in the sloppy mud. His eye slit is packed with mud, rendering him nearly blind.
Aeryn, seeing his chance, rides past and calls him a Hedge Knight. The ultimate insult that just throws Dunk back to his desperate origins.
And as the moment, Sir Duncan the Tall sheds his borrowed nobility and channels Dunk of Flea Bottom.
Wounded, blind, and enraged, he pulls the 3-foot piece of lance out of his side, dismounts, and tackles Aeryn, dragging him cursing into the mud.
Dunk's brute size and weight finally overcome the prince. He beats Aeryn into submission with the prince's own shield, smashing his crested helm repeatedly, until Aeryn, terrified, whispers, "I yield."
The accusation is withdrawn. Dunk wins the trial of 7.
But the victory is paid for with the highest possible price. As the melee ends, Prince Baelor, who was holding off his brother Maekar, removes his cracked helm.
And the sources confirm that Baelor had suffered a massive fatal head wound from the blow delivered by Maekar's mace. He collapses in the mud and dies instantly at the age of 39.
The heir apparent to the Iron Throne, the Hand of the King, died protecting the honor of a common Hedge Knight. It is a terrible, shocking, and accidental tragedy that reshapes the entire future of the Targaryen dynasty.
The consequences ripple outwards immediately. Prince Baelor Breakspear, the realm's most promising heir in generations, is dead. His body is cremated according to Targaryen tradition. The loss is just immense, politically and emotionally.
And Prince Maekar, Baelor's younger brother, is racked with guilt. He's now next in line for the throne, after Baelor's sons. And Maekar confesses to Dunk that he knows the Whispers will follow him forever, that he meant to kill his brother.
The chivalric game has destroyed the royal family from within. Maekar's first act of damage control is to exile the source of the conflict, Arryn Brightflame.
He sends him away to the Free Cities to Lys for a few years, hoping the distance might change him for the better.
It's an attempt to hide the family shame, though Arryn's return and his subsequent choices will have even greater consequences for the succession.
And Dunk himself is laid up, healing. He's left with this deep, puckered scar between his left arm and nipple, a lifelong physical reminder of the lance that nearly killed him.
But the deeper wound is the moral confusion. He realizes his life and the lives of good men like Beesbury and Harding were bought at the cost of the heir to the Iron Throne.
His victory feels hollow. He wonders if the gods truly delight in such cruel japes.
And that self-doubt is so essential to his character. He's won his life and honor, but he's questioning the ultimate justice of the outcome. He understands the weight of Baelor's sacrifice.
With the dust settling, Prince Maekar approaches Dunk with a practical, albeit self-serving, proposition. He offers Dunk a life of comfort and status, a position as a sworn knight of his household at Summerhall.
Egg would continue to squire for Dunk, but Maekar's master-at-arms would complete Dunk's own training, which, by his own admission, he desperately needed.
This is the exact prize Dunk rode to Ashford for. Security, wealth, and status within a noble household. It's a golden ticket out of the hedges.
But he refuses. He understands that court life, that gilded cage, is precisely what poisoned Daeron the drunkard and Aerion the tyrant.
He remembers Baelor's final words before he collapsed. The realm needed good men. And Dunk realizes the kindest and perhaps most important thing he can do for Prince Aegon is prevent him from becoming like his brothers.
He understands that a true leader must know the lives of the people he rules.
So he insists on taking Egg on the road. He sets these rigid final terms with Prince Maekar. They're non-negotiable and designed to strip Aegon of all privilege.
Egg has to ride Dunk's old horse, Chestnut, wear Dunk's old cloak, and they will sleep rough in inns, stables, and under trees.
This is Dunk's self-made education plan for the future King Aegon V. Targaryen. He pointedly tells Maekar that spoiled princes become cruel or worthless.
Daeron never slept in a ditch. Aerion never ate common food. Dunk insists that if Aegon is to be a true leader, he needs to experience the hardship and reality of the small folk.
And Maekar, seeing the wisdom and the honor in the Hedge Knight's refusal, is forced to agree. The Hedge Knight from Fleabottom is now the tutor and guardian of the future king.
And that decision directly leads to Aegon Vist's famous populist policies and his reputation as the unlikely king who understood the needs of the common people. Dunk's refusal of court life forged the character of a future monarch.
So this first deep dive into the legend of Sir Duncan the Tall gives us the foundational principles of his character. His immense loyalty, his willingness to defend the innocent even when it means risking everything, and his powerful, if rough, sense of honor.
The irony defining his early life is just so profound. A man born in the lowest stews of the capital becomes the ethical and moral compass for the highest family in the land. And he only achieves this status through a catastrophic political accident of fate.
Dunk's final thought to Prince Maekar sums up this tragic calculus perfectly. He questions the worth of his life against that of a royal heir. How could my foot be worth a prince's life?
But then he adds, but mightn't it be that some morrow will come when I'll have need of that foot, when the realm will need that foot, even more than a prince's life?
And we know how this legend unfolds. Sir Duncan the Tall would eventually become the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, defending Aegon V for decades. His life, saved by Baelor's sacrifice, was later dedicated to protecting the king he helped mold.
So we'll leave you with Dunk's own question, applied to the sweep of history. Was Baelor's sacrifice, intended to protect Dunk's honor and life, ultimately necessary for the long-term good of the realm by providing the right mentor for the future King Aegon V? Or was it merely a tragic, pointless accident of fate in the mud of a tourney field?
Something to mull over as you consider the long game of destiny. Until next time, stay well informed, and remember that sometimes the greatest impact comes from the smallest, most impulsive act of decency.